I'll start with him. He's going to make his debut probably the first test. And very exciting player as well as in the midfield. But yeah, definitely one of those players where you look at that and get quite excited as a coach. He's got a long way to go. He's only 18 and he's got a lot to learn, but he's a smart guy. He's first year law, so he's doing well.
Our first tonight, his Kookaburra number is 407. It's from New South Wales and his parents are here tonight. It's a big day. Let's hear it for Tom Craig.
Oh, crikey, he's aged a lot since then. Geez, the years have been hard on him. Welcome to the show, Tom Craig. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate.
Thank you for coming in. That must bring back some nice memories because that tradition, I mean, I'm old enough to know the depth of performance of our national hockey teams, men and women, for a long, long time. That's a great tradition you've been part of there.
Yeah, I remember I was actually a bit regrettable looking at that and seeing I still had my mouth guard in while I smiled for the camera. But yeah, that was a special moment, no doubt.
And look, we'll get back to the Kookaburras in a minute, but firstly, tell us about New South Wales Pride and finally the debut of Hockey One. This has had a lot of promotion, great support from Fox Sports. We saw it last weekend for the first time. How was it for you guys as players? Yeah,
I think it was run really smoothly. We've been looking forward to it for ages, doing away with the old AHL format in with the Sultana brand Hockey One. Well, it's supposed to be more exciting, and it is. The men and women play back-to-back, so it's a good afternoon of hockey. And, yeah, you get your money's worth. You come out, you see some of the best players in Australia and the world playing weekly, which is cool. And we're not all isolated to one place for a tournament. We play home and away, and it means that all of Australia can watch and enjoy.
You started out with a win. Would you say that you've got one of the better lineups in the series, or I know it's been fairly evenly distributed. That's the attempt anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you're playing for a start, which of course tips the balance in their favour.
Yeah, no, I think we've got a pretty good lineup. New South Wales typically is very strong, and we always have a good lineup. And the guys from other states tout us as serial underperformers. So that's going to change this year, though. We're going to be good.
Okay.
Tommy, with the grassroots hockey, I know there's been a lot of work going into it. Is Hockey One really contributing to that as well, and do you think that'll lead to more numbers in the sport, and what's your thoughts on the future for hockey?
Yeah, I think it's such a good initiative because, as I said, like, we get to come home. So typically the Australian players are all based over in Perth where the AIS is, and we go and train over there. So coming home for such an extended period of time and being in amongst our home clubs and even being in Sydney is pretty special. So we have the opportunity to go back and run a few coaching clinics and kind of rub shoulders with the young players, and also they get to see us as well, playing live. Like, there's been a new format with the Pro League, which is the international stuff, which means that we've been able to play over on the East Coast a little bit more. But prior to that, a lot of the games are isolated to offshore or in Perth. So I think it's a great initiative.
Beautiful.
So you're based in Perth. So are the internationals, do you have to play for New South Wales, or is it like a draft, or do you go back and play for your home state?
Yeah, that's a good point. So this year, the draft I think is going to be implemented next year.
Okay.
There's an NT boy, Jeremy Hayward, who NT don't have a team this year, so he's gone to play for Tassie, and I think that's kind of the model of how it's going to run next year. So I think there's a few, the proposition is that there are going to be a few homegrown athletes, so maybe you have 4, I think, and then the rest of the players go into a draft to really even out the playing field.
It's very exciting. We talked about this when the whole thing was being formed up on the show, but I think the point you made, Maddie, about relating to the grassroots, putting people in touch with the great national sides that we've seen in action, basically only at Olympics or Commonwealth Games or your Champions Trophies and those things over the years. And now, of course, you've got the Pro League as well. You mentioned that. That's a big step forward, not just for globally for hockey, but also for our national teams.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so many elements to it that make it a good product. I think from a professional point of view, we get to play the European teams a lot more, whereas typically you'd play them once at a tournament or twice if both teams made the final. So that exposure to a different style of play is very different. The way the Europeans play compared to like the Kiwis and the Indians is very different. So that's a really good opportunity. But also, as I said, like being able to play all over the country is awesome. Like people get to play for Australia in front of their family, which very, very rarely happened. I remember before I played for the Kookaburras, I'd only seen them play, I think, once in Sydney. So,
Yeah.
And since then I've played in Sydney 5 or 6 times, so it's pretty cool.
And well, since that debut, well, you played in Rio, of course, but since your debut that we just saw, you've played 97 matches.
Yeah, yeah.
I know you, Paige, when we talked about this before the show, that you'd have to rack up a lot of netball games for
Yeah.
Australia to get 97.
We're saying it would take many, many years, or you have to
Yeah.
go to a lot of Com Games or World Cups to get anywhere near 100. So
It's a busy world circuit then,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It is, yeah. It goes for a long time.
And will this help? I suppose it's a fair way off yet, but I know a lot of our top players have had to play in Europe to sort of keep their, keep the bread on the table, so to speak. I guess that'll still happen, but will it help you guys to sort of be able to parlay that career back in your home country now as well? And
I think that's the idea. There's a long way to go, obviously.
Yeah.
But with Sultana brand coming on board, for example, and,
Yep.
and KO and all these sorts of things, like the support we've had for it has been really good, and a lot more exposure and stuff. So hopefully, there are a few sponsors coming in on the back of that, which can make playing in Australia a little bit easier.
do you find yourself picking the sultanas out first before you actually put the milk in? I often... Do you find that happens to me?
No, I like the
Just-
brand bit.
You just,
I like the-
yeah. I sometimes just sit there and eat the sultanas first, and then I think, oh, crikey, I've got to eat the cereal as well, and that's good. But there you go. Let us know your thoughts on that too. Talk about the kookaburras now. What I find interesting is that, quite often our men's team's number one and the women's team might be just going through a rebuild. And they're not far off the top, but we know they're not going to win a gold medal, and vice versa. Going into Tokyo next year, all things being well, we've got number one in the men's and number two in the women's. Not often, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that we go into an Olympic Games with both teams arguably gold medal favourites, or at least favourites to get in that gold medal game.
Yeah, I think it's pretty exciting, really. I think you're right. I can't recall a time as well where both teams are playing their best. It is exciting. It's cool that both programs are going so well.
Yeah.
In the Pro League final, the women came second in a tight game to the Dutch as well, and the Dutch have a really special team. So, and in historically as well, the girls of the World Cup last year pushed them right to the end. They actually lost them in shootout in the semi-final. So the girls are in a really good spot, and we're ticking along. So it's an exciting year for hockey fans.
So you're going to be very, very busy. But how long does the hockey one last, and what happens after that?
Yeah, so we've just qualified for the Olympics over in Rockhampton with the Oceania Cup. So we beat the Kiwis over there. So we've got our ticket to Tokyo. Hockey one lasts for 2 months, I think. So we'll be back and training in our home states, obviously. And then after that, it's induction and pretty much just gearing in for Tokyo. And
it's basically that the men and the women have parallel paths, that the same sort of things happening, or do they stagger the qualification?
Well, the girls had a slight hiccup in that they lost to New Zealand in the qualifiers, so they've got to play a series against Russia in Perth, which shouldn't be a problem, but it's just another thing that they have to do, but they're in good shape.
Now, we've got an exclusive for you tonight. We're going to get Paige to give us a bit of dirt on Tom too, because they're at New South Wales Institute of Sport together.
I don't know any dirt on Tom.
Oh, come on. We've got to get some stories. This is a Bill and Boz exclusive. Andy Lee and Stephen Curry. Andy, of course, the famous comedian, Hamish and Andy, and Stephen Curry, the actor, perhaps most famously known for The Castle. Both hockey players, and they've contributed to a promo for Hockey One when we're giving you a special sneak preview here. It's not the entire thing, but we're giving you the first look before it's officially released tomorrow. Here we go.
Curry.
Lee?
Played state championships.
Not exactly playing for the state though, is it, like I did?
30 years ago.
Not the point.
Yeah, and you were second string goalkeeper.
Again, that's not the point. And what, you were this good looking when you were 14, were you?
I can't remember when I became hot.
Oh, all right, let's just do it. One-on-one,
Yep.
winner gets the Hockey One tickets.
We're getting paid in Hockey One tickets.
So you'll have more then.
Am I going to win, am I?
Oh, he's got a tailwind. Points coming. Oh, overcommitted. Oh, he's pressing him. He is pressing him out of it. Sometimes it's the stuff that you don't do that counts.
beloved Australian actor. Don't want to kill him. I do want to hurt him. His kids might watch this. I don't want them to disown their dad, so...
Saved it. I remember. This is how I remember it. I saved it. Ah, my rib still hurts. Oh, look, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but that was amazing. I didn't know I still have it. Woo!
It's getting in touch with the grassroots. We got a text already from Alex Broad saying, "Take your shirt off, Tommy." We're up for anything here on Bill and Boz. Actually, we might let you off, mate. You've got a microphone on it, so that might cause complications. That's someone I suspect you might want to get even with later on.
Yeah, I know the guy. Yeah.
Okay. No dirt on him?
I've got no doubt on him.
Oh,
this guy
fair
does,
dinkum,
obviously.
Paige. Don't let the side down. Maybe Alex has some. There's still time, Alex.
Text through.
I'll keep him busy while you think of something. Seriously, though, going from that stage, and I know, Paige, you've been through this with the Diamonds, and to some extent a bit of reinvention this year too. Going from that stage at Olympics where you're a bench player to where you expect, I'm sure, to play a prominent role in Tokyo, all things going well. How has that journey been, and how hard was it, and what does it take?
That's a good question. I think the reserve role at the Olympics is it's touted as a difficult one. We were lucky we had 3 reserves, so it was a goalkeeper and another field player. So we had 3 of us to kind of keep us balanced. I had the best 2 or 3 weeks of my life. It was really enjoyable. We got to go there, support the guys, train hard. The result wasn't what we wanted, and there was a lot of disappointment within the group, in particular, about how we performed. And we definitely felt that as the reserve players, because we want to see them do so well. But yeah, 4 years later, lots happened since then. Bit older, and yeah, I don't know. What can I say? I'm looking forward to it.
That hunger will come in pretty handy, I'd expect.
Tommy, you debuted at 18, now 23, 24? 24. What's the life expectancy of a hockey player? Like, when do you start to drop off, your performance, and what's the age that most guys retire?
Yeah, I think I get asked that a bit. I reckon with any sport, like the most important part is probably between your ears, I reckon. So it's probably where you still can match it physically, but also like being as smart as you can possibly be. So I reckon you hit your peak between 28 and 32 before your body starts to give way. But Jamie Dwyer is a great exponent of the game. He retired when he was 37.
Yeah.
So
the Steve Menzies of hockey.
Yeah.
There you go.
Keep going.
Tommy, thank you so much for your time, mate. Hopefully we'll get you to come in and talk again soon, whether it's about the success of Hockey One or indeed as the Kookaburras prepare for Tokyo. But best of luck, mate, and we're really enjoying the series so far.
thanks, Bill.
There you go. Tom Craig from New South Wales Pride. We get a lot of pride in what's coming up too. The